This forgotten drum machine from 1980s Luxembourg might look like any other organ accompaniment machine, but it has a few tricks up its sleeve that make it an absolute electro-monster. I would even say that of all the outsider drum machines I've shown you here on this channel, this is the best, and has one of the best claps of any drum machine ever. Plus, it integrates into modular environments if you're ready to experiment. Hi, I'm Heinbach and it's good to have you back. In this video I will show you what the BME Rattlesnake from 1983 can do at its most basic and when you push it. And I'll also tell you about the history of this beautiful instrument. But first, thanks to everyone who supports my work on Patreon. Ever since I started it in 2018, it has been the main reason I can keep on going with this channel. Patrons get extra videos, access to news, music from the videos, and sound packs, such as the big sample pack that I made of the Rattlesnake that contains single hits and loops. While the regular supporters on Patreon give me a sense of job security, I understand subscriptions are not for everyone, so I made it available to purchase. The Rattlesnake is the brainchild of German engineer Hans-Peter Baumann, hence BME, Baumann Musik Elektronik. Baumann fell in love with the synthesizer when he heard Switched on Bach by Wendy Carlos. As there was not much in the way of documentation on how to make a synthesizer in the early 70s, he created his own based on standard electronic techniques and his own modifications. In 1976, he released his first synthesizer, the BME 700, which is a bit like a wasp that was met with a resounding echo, and he got a lot of orders. He quickly followed that up with the PM10, the rather German-named Modular System, Precision Modular System, which does look a bit like a formant, but it's his own design. One of the rather exciting additions he made to the PM is a polyphonic keyboard, which was pretty rare at the time, as well as the keyboard-tuned sequencer, which allowed you to quantize notes and was from the get-go designed as a sound generator with a clock that runs up to 16,000 Hz. He further developed the PM10 system into the massive Axiom modular synthesizer. And in 1983 we come to our little Rattlesnake here. The Rattlesnake is a little odd by today's standards, but fit in right at the times. This is a preset drum machine that also is playable using pads. It's like a crossover between a Roland CR78 and a Simmons drum pad kit. And that was how it was first demoed at Musikmesse, with a practice drum kit modified with pickups and a little box to convert these electronic signals into triggers for the Rattlesnake. He got a lot of orders from the start because it was cheaper than the Simmons, and music teachers liked it because put in a beat and play along. That's a pretty nifty feature at the time. You access the different presets in a way that I would say is rather engineer-minded, because you've got 2 switches for banks and 4 for each preset, so make up different combinations of bank and these switches. So you have to remember where your preset is that you want to access. Odd. But here's how it sounds before we engage the fun buttons. The output is stereo, and every instrument is placed pretty nicely within the stereo field. But the claps, those are stereo. There are 2 generators at work here. And I'm such a fan of these claps. In fact, I've been using samples of the claps for decades now when I discovered them on a CD-ROM on a keyboards magazine. But to have them here in real life is amazing because every clap sounds different. They feel very alive. You also heard the little variation or break function, which allows you to insert a break every 4th beat or every secondary beat. Whether the fills and the associated presets are musically useful to you today You have to decide. I don't find them that amazing. There's maybe one or two beats in here that I enjoy and ended up using live when I played this at one of my biggest shows ever at the Barbican in London, opening up for Rival Consoles. Hi, Ryan. But what is amazing on this machine are these two controls. Parametric allows you to extend the decay of the drums, so they ring out louder and even resonate. One of the coolest named switches of any drum machine ever, though, is the screen sound. This adds distortion. And now we're heading into the Electro-Monster sound I teased before. This becomes almost a mini Pulsar 23. Coming from 1983, there is no MIDI or USB here, and you only get a clock out, which you can use to trigger other gear, for example, like the arpeggiator on a Juno 60. And you get one external trigger in. But I always wanted to trigger this machine from outside, which it was designed to do. It just uses a different kind of connector, but you might be familiar with still if you're my age. This is a universal serial port. And I was ready to get my soldering iron out, but then I thought, wait, this is such a common connector. Somebody must have made a breakout box for this. And they did. This is a pinout box made for car diagnostics. I have not the slightest idea about car electronics, but I saw that this would simply convert the connector, the serial port connector, to banana. This way, I'm hoping I can control this drum machine externally using my Surge modular. All right, connector fits. First thing we need to connect is the ground. And according to the wonderful cyborgs.de website, which is about the only resource on this machine, that is pin 10. So if we do that, we should have a ground connection already between the Surge and this machine. And now we can look which is which. So pin 1 is parametric control, that turns it on and off. Pin 2 is clock. Pin 3, clap. That seems like way more. What am I doing wrong? Oh, it is clap. Okay. Alright. Got it working. CL. LC. Hi tom. That's snare. Hi-hat. Cymbal. Bass tom. PD. LT. The little box works really well. I've mapped out all the controls and now I can program this drum machine externally with my Surge synthesizer. That totally worked, and I'm able to really fine-tune the sounds now depending on how I set the envelopes. This machine is very reactive to velocity, which is little wonder since this was meant to be played with pads. But since this is analog, I think this will react well to audio rate. And I'm wondering if we can make drones with it. So I'm just gonna have this beat and speed it up until the absolute maximum. Alright, ready? I love it. That glitched out this machine rather nicely, but it got me thinking, what if I could use this as a filter bank? Because these are pinged filters, I'm guessing, mostly. So if there's nothing that converts inputs to triggers or something like that, I could just run audio signals through that. And let's test this by running white noise through each of these voices. I think we start with the highest and go then to the lowest. High clav. Turn it on. That's cool. It's lovely. Low clav. Amazing. Come on, this is beautiful. The way you can push this machine shows to me how advanced Hans-Peter Baumann's sensibilities were. He took the power of his modular synthesizers, made this unassuming little rhythm box and gave it a dangerous name. So you knew, oh, something's up there. And if you are willing to explore, yeah, it becomes a beautiful and even modern device today. Despite being completely backlogged making his modular system and the Rattlesnake, Baumann continued innovating. Could have almost claimed the title for the world's first sampling drum machine with the Percutor. The Percutor allowed you to record and burn your own sounds to EEPROM using a programmer called Boomer. This was in 1984, a year before the Lindrum 9000 claimed the title of the first sampling drum machine. But the actual product came out in 1985 as Baumann sold it to German manufacturer Dynacord, where it took quite a while to adapt his designs to their workflow and process. A process that he described as something that went very professionally, but the very well-informed people from the cyborgs.de website that I've been using as the source of much of this video said it was troublesome. So it happened that in 1984 Hans-Peter Baumann decided to quit the music instrument business. He cites the overwhelming rise of the Japanese manufacturers like Korg, Yamaha and Roland, as well as the onset of digital technology as a reason to leave this business, since doing analog stuff in a time dominated by digital would just be rehashing old principles. He was also dissatisfied with most of Germany's musicians at the time, because apparently Germany was the biggest market for his instruments and the Rattlesnake, claiming that most of them did not look for innovation, but rather to sound like Group X. Kann der auch klingen wie der Sound von Tralala auf dem Album Sh? That was not motivating for him to develop new things. While Hans-Peter Baumann probably did not burn everything that related to BME, as has been claimed online, it appears to be true that after many moves, nothing's left of the company. The only resource left about BME I could find online was the cyborgs.de website I quoted earlier, and I urge you to check that out. There are audio examples of the modular systems as well as music made with it, and yeah, much more information in German, but with auto-translate today, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Even with the recent resurgence of analog, he has not been interested to go back into the market or putting out his modular systems again, which is a bit of a shame, because I think especially the Axiom and the Programmer, the sequencer rather, look amazing. And if you have one of those systems and would like a house guest for a day or two, hit me up via the contact form on my website. I would like to experience these instruments in real life. On my Patreon you'll find a sound pack of the Rattlesnake. And if you have any more questions, do put them in the comments below or visit the Heinbach subreddit. It's a nice place that's growing rather well. And also subscribe to my newsletter. It's monthly and there's book tips in there. Links down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.